You know, as I sat at home and watched this, and then I went back, watched it again, her speech about 24 minutes, she spent a few minutes tops talking about the accomplishments of Barack Obama and nothing specific to me on why Obama's her guy. Do you agree? We're taking your calls on this at 1-877-TEL-HLN. And let's bring in our guest. We welcome back to the show, radio talk show host Stephanie Miller, an Obama supporter. And Stephanie, I know you disagree with me on this one. I know you think Hillary knocked it out of the yard. Let me make one more point, and you can tell me where I'm wrong. I just think that they had a personal, intense fight, and he needed from her a personal endorsement. Don't you think that would have been nice to hear from her and would have went a long way further in going to the party unity? What are your thoughts?
Mike, I'm just jumping out of my chair here. You couldn't be more wrong, and I mean that in the most polite possible way, since this is your show. I thought she could not have given a more heartfelt, ringing endorsement. And if you were in the hall like I was, I mean, there was just no two ways about it. She did everything that she needed to do and more. It couldn't have been a more forceful endorsement of him, in my opinion.
Well, I mean, she ran against him and sat across from him in debates. There was nothing about his character, nothing about him as a leader. I want to play a soundbite. This is when Hillary Clinton is giving props to Joe Biden. She gave more specific props to Joe Biden than Barack Obama. Let's give it a listen.
And Americans are fortunate that Joe Biden will be at Barack Obama's side, a strong leader, a good man, who understands both the economic stresses here at home and the strategic challenges abroad. He's pragmatic, he's tough, and he's wise.
Again, there are specific endorsements, pragmatic, tough, wise, strong leader. She didn't say one word like that about Barack Obama. Wouldn't you have liked to have heard that?
Mike, I think that, you know, this speech had to serve two purposes, and she did it. She went right at her supporters, and she went right at John McCain, and she couldn't have done it, I think, in a more strongly. I mean, the most important thing I think she said, Mike, is this is not about me. If you are for me, she said, if you were in this just for me, aren't you in it for the people that need health care and need to get out of Iraq and all the things that she listed? I mean, she said the work of her lifetime, Mike, her 35 years, she said, we didn't do all this and come all this way to elect John McCain. I don't know how much stronger an endorsement, I mean, she could have given Barack Obama.
Well, I just think she was endorsing herself. You just said it. The work I've done for 35 years. All I wanted, and I expected to hear that, Stephanie, for a good 3/4 of the speech, but I expected at least a quarter of it, maybe 5 minutes, on who Barack Obama is, what a strong man he is. They've used Hillary Clinton's own words against Barack Obama, that he's not the guy you want picking up the phone at 3 in the morning. She didn't even address that he's ready to be commander-in-chief.
You know, Mike,
this
happens every year. Look at the stuff John McCain said about George Bush when he was running against him. Look at, you know, George Bush Sr. called Reagan's voodoo economics. It's like, I think people get this is what you do in a primary. You know, she's a tough fighter. She was fighting to win. And I think that, you know, she couldn't really have come out. And I think that's what people were waiting for, Mike. Is this really going to be from the heart, or is she really going to just go through the motions? I think there was no way to look at that speech and not say that was from her heart.
Well, I think it was partially. I would have liked to have seen something from the heart toward Barack Obama specifically. But I think you and I could go round and round. Let's get another voice in on this. Mary Smith from the Denver County Republican Party. Mary, what did you think of Hillary Clinton's speech? Did she unify the party? Was it a home run for Senator Clinton?
I completely agree with you. It was barely a first base hit. You know, you have a zero bounce with the Joe Biden announcement, and then you have Hillary Clinton's speech last night that, as you said, really went through chapter and verse of what Hillary Clinton has done and had really nothing great to say about Barack Obama or what he was going to bring. She basically congratulated him for agreeing with her, and I'm not sure that's enough to really go forward. I think it'll be interesting to see, especially with President Clinton not attending his speech on Thursday. I think it's very clear that this is tepid support at best. And you're still hearing grumblings on the ground here.
All right, let's get in a couple of phone calls here, and Stephanie, you get to chime in again. Stacy in Alabama. Stacy, what did you think of Senator Clinton's speech?
I thought the speech was good. I felt like it could be better, but my comment is basically more to the women who are out saying that they can't support Barack Obama after being staunch Hillary Clinton supporters. To me, that's setting the women's movement back like 100 years. It's a disgrace to the women's movement to do that because it makes you look overly emotional. It makes you look like you don't know how to vote based on the issues. You look like a hypocrite. You go pro-life one day, and then because you're emotional. You're going to go pro-choice because you didn't get your way. I mean, they're setting back the women's movement 100 years.
Wow. Okay, Stacey.
You go, Stacey. You go.
Yes.
Rock on, sister.
Stephanie, that's a passionate phone call. What about that poll, Stephanie? The USA Today Gallup poll saying 30% of Clinton backers might go McCain or no one at all or someone else. First off, are you concerned about that? And when will those numbers sway your way?
I think last night was a big first step. I think tonight is another one, and certainly Thursday night is the big night. I think, like I say, she accomplished her mission, I think, Mike, yesterday, in that she was talking to her supporters. And if you support her, Barack Obama they're almost 99% identical on the issues. And there just is no way, I think, by November, in good conscience, anybody is going to pull that lever for John McCain that has supported Hillary Clinton.
If that is really the case, if they were that similar, with her 18 million votes of support, he would have chosen her and put her on the ticket. I don't see how this translates into support for Obama. And I think with half of those people barely tepid in their support, and and 1 in 5 actually supporting McCain at this point, I think it's going to be very interesting.
All right.
Especially as we move forward on the issues. You talk to these people and they say, I thought Hillary Clinton was the most qualified person in the race, and now that she's out, of the two people running for president, John McCain is the much stronger, much more prepared, much more interesting candidate that's going to take this forward and be the right president for the United States.
All right, let's listen to a Clinton supporter.
And don't forget, much more wrong on everything.
All right, let's get back to the matter at hand. Clinton supporter, Stephanie, that spoke after Senator Clinton spoke, and she's really torn on who to go for. Let's listen to this lady who was very emotional last night.
You just saw it yourselves. You saw it yourself. You know that was a presidential speech. You know it. When you guys look back at the end of this week and you start tearing apart the speeches, and you will, you know that was a presidential speech.
Stephanie, concerned about buyer's remorse there at all? That some people are saying, wow.
Well,
I mean, she was strong last night. that was a great speech by Senator Clinton.
Oh, you know what? I had the same feeling. Like, I thought if that Hillary had showed up, she would have won. I think a lot of people thought that many of us on the Democratic side didn't dislike Hillary. I disliked her campaign.
Yeah.
I disliked the tactics. I disliked a lot of her surrogates. I disliked how they ran the campaign. If they had let Hillary be Hillary, I think absolutely she showed leadership. She showed smarts and warmth, and she was fabulous.
Let's get another call. Trina in Kansas. You there, Trina?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, go ahead. What are your thoughts?
My thoughts are I'm a retired Army veteran, 2-time veteran, Operation Just Cause, and Iraqi Freedom. And Hillary Clinton, I don't think, did enough or said enough to support Barack Obama. I don't know what Stephanie was watching, but as you said, she gave Joe Biden more praise and more knowledge than she gave Barack Obama. She never said not one positive thing about his leadership, nothing about we've come together on some of the things that I ran for. We now are together. She never said any of that. She had the all about me syndrome. It was all about me and all about what Bill did when he was in office, our former president. But nothing to support Barack Obama at all. Nothing positive at all.
Well,
it's just
Trina,
all about me syndrome. And I don't believe that she meant what she said when she mentioned bringing the soldiers home.
Okay, Trina, thanks again for the phone call. Ladies, we're going to have to leave it there. Mary Smith for the Denver County Republican Party. Stephanie, great to have you back as well. I'm sure we'll talk again as we head toward November.
You,
thanks again. Like Trina said, I do think it was a great speech, but I think she could have been more from the heart and more specific about why Barack Obama's her guy. So again, great conversation there. All right, come